Hi all, I'm Mr. Mendoza, second grade teacher at Webb Du Bois Charter Academy with Agape Schools out of Fresno. In this section of Governing Our People for our second graders, we are going to read the fourth section in Governing the People. We are going to read the lesson for Our World Neighbors. What do you have to know? How do other nations make their laws? There are many nations in the world. Each nation has its own set of rules and consequences. Many nations, many countries. These are all examples of countries. Before we even jump into reading, we can look at the countries all around the world, such as Canada, which is north of us. United States, that's us. Mexico is south of us. Nicaragua is south of us. We also have Brazil, Peru, Argentina, which are all South America, the continent of South America. We are on the continent of North America. Others, like in the continent of Africa, we have the Congo, South Africa, Algeria, Egypt. In Europe, we have Great Britain, Norway, Spain. In the continent of China, we have China, India, Iran, Saudi Arabia, Jordan. And one of the biggest countries is Russia. It's the biggest country because a lot of places you can't live in it because it's too cold. Russia has the most land of any nation. China has the most people. This world is made up of many nations or countries. Each nation has its own government and laws. The United States is a nation. Mexico and Canada are nations that share borders with the United States. In different nations, people become leaders in different ways. In some nations, leaders are chosen by citizens in elections. In other nations, people become leaders by winning wars. Every nation is different, and they elect their leaders in different ways. The leaders of some nations are born into families of leaders. They are grown up, they grow up to take the place of their parents as leaders. For example, one leader of Jordan, King Abdullah II. Another one, President Chandrika Kumartunga of Sri Lanka. Who knows how they go into power? President Thabo Mbeki of South Africa, and the House of Lords in England. Nations also have their own ways of making laws. Some laws come from ways of the culture. Some laws come from the religion of the nation's people. The leaders make sure that the laws are carried out. There are many nations, and each has its own government and laws, and everyone is different. How do other nations make their laws? How? Think about that. How do they make their laws? Who makes their laws for them? In what nation do you live? Which nation or country do you live? We talked about that already. Now you can also write about, you can choose a nation from the map on this page and find out how that country makes its laws. Write a paragraph about what you learned. You can look at this map and think, let's say, for example, China. How does China make its laws? You can go on your search engine, type in, how does China makes its laws? And you press enter. You get all kinds of good stuff. The first result, you want to know where it comes from? Wikipedia. You don't want to go there for really, good results. For if you want information that is nonfiction, you don't want to go to Wikipedia because someone probably made that up. You want to go something to like Britannica, for example. That's an encyclopedia, an online encyclopedia about China. Or here's another one, china.org. That sounds like an even better one. It's an org. You might find some information there. You click on it, and it goes to a bunch of awesome things. China's current legislation structure. How do they vote, or how do they choose their governors? So we'll go back to this section, write about that. Lastly, what are some ways in which people become leaders of other nations? All that is in here. How other people become leaders? Well, figure it out. Look back at your section and read it. Our next section is lesson 5. Thank you for listening on this section. Hopefully that you enjoyed it. And remember, if you want to, or you should actually, to gain access to all other stories on my channel, subscribe. Thank you. Enjoy your day.